It's the meat event meat and cannot wait for this absolute banger between Jared Cannonier, the Killer Gorilla, as he takes on my boy Sean Strickland. And I'm excited for both these guys because they're both coming in off of recent losses, right? Sean Strickland got absolutely flatlined by Alex Pereira. It only took 2.5 minutes. It seemed as though somehow Strickland was unaware of the power that his opponent was possessing, and as a result, tried to get in a kickboxing match with him. Didn't work, however, and he was slept in just a couple minutes. And most recently for Cannonier, he also lost. It was a title fight against Israel Adesanya, the then current champ, and it was back in July. And it was a fight meet that honestly wasn't really that competitive. I had expected Cannonier to maybe be able to bring the fight to Izzy a little bit and make it a competitive contest, but Izzy made pretty light work of the Killer Gorilla, and although it wasn't the most exciting or sexiest performance from Izzy, it was an effective dismantling for sure, and it was tough for Cannonier because he was on a nice win streak, right? He had won 2 straight, he had flatlined Derek Brunson and beat Kelvin Gastelum before that. He had even picked up wins over Jack the Joker, Anderson Silva, and David Branch as well, with the only loss sprinkled in there to Robert Whittaker. So we know Cannonier at 185 as a guy who is very competitive against most guys, and the only people he really loses to are those upper echelon, top tier guys like Izzy and Bobby Knuckles. So I'm curious to see personally if Sean Strickland is in that same category, because I think Sean Strickland, when pitted up against basically most guys at 185, is likely going to win, but when he gets into that top conversation, the Alex Pereiras, the Izzies, I maybe would even want to see how he does against the eraser Paulo Costa. What does Sean Strickland look like? And I think Cannonier is the perfect test to really showcase, is Strickland ready for these top tier guys, or is he just going to be like one of these, I don't want to call him a journeyman, but maybe a gatekeeper where if there's ever a guy with a lot of 185 hype, maybe a Dricus du Plessis, maybe an Andre Muniz, do they throw him up against Sean Strickland and see how good they really are? Or can Strickland turn that next corner and become elite himself? Curious to get your thoughts, Mia. Are you going to roll with Sean Strickland to rebound off after that loss to Pereira, or are you taking Cannonier? And if so, do you think he gets the finish?
Yeah, this is a fun fight, and man, it's hard to say on how fighters bounce back after a KO like that. I mean, that could be really a career-ending KO where Sean's jaw turns into Luke Rockhold's glass chin, and the first punch that the Killer Gorilla Jared Cannonier lands might send him to the shadow realm where Alex Pereira sent him a couple months ago. So it's very hard to say, but Jared Cannonier has absolute bombs in those fists, so if he does land, we know Sean can go out. You know what I mean? But Sean's a tough guy. He puts a lot of pressure. He keeps going forward, but he keeps his chin up high and his guard low. And he has good boxing. He's got good grappling, good takedown defense. But I think Jared is just more diverse, stronger. He's got great cardio. Jared's not going to gas as we've seen him. He is getting older, so that is a factor where maybe he could be gassing now because he's 38. He's had a few fights, just lost to Izzy, and maybe that is taking himself down. But honestly, I just saw his new crystal collection the other day, and there's no way he's losing this fight. He's got all these magical new crystals, and when he's rubbing those and having them in his pockets with that chakra, he's never gonna lose. Like, that's how I see it. I think when he fought Izzy, he forgot the bag of crystals that day, and that's why he took the L. So this weekend, he's for sure coming out on top. He's coming out with a dominant decision or a KO early and often.
Yeah, interesting stuff. And, you touched on the age. I think that might be an interesting factor, right? Cannonier, 38. Strickland's still a very youthful, vibrant, peaking 31. So maybe that will play into this. And then you also mentioned the Crystal Energy, which brought Cannonier all the way to the title fight. But ultimately, the crystals were not enough in that contest, and he got absolutely smoked. And I don't know, Meat, I think that if anyone is to not be influenced by some woo-woo crystal energy, it's probably Sean Strickland. Because if you ask Sean Strickland about the crystals that Jared Cannonier is bringing to their matchup, I don't know if Sean Strickland is going to even respond to such an inquiry. So I don't think that's going to play too much of a factor when we're dealing with the guy of the emotional makeup that Sean Strickland has, and for that reason, I got to go Sean Strickland. I think that he's going to have the volume necessary, and I think he's going to avoid those early meat bombs that Cannonier is going to be throwing, specifically because when he didn't have his guard up, when he sort of downplayed the power that was coming back his way in that recent contest against Pereira, he paid for it dearly. So I think we're going to see a much smarter Sean Strickland, a much more strategic, and maybe it takes him a couple rounds to wake up, similar to that fight against Jack the Joker. But ultimately, I think he will wake up, and I think it's going to be the volume that's going to be the story of this contest. And I see Cannonier just eating way too many of those pepper punches from Strickland, and as a result, I honestly think Strickland might get a late finish in this one, or will grit out a tough but unanimous decision. So I'm rolling with the 41% that has Sean Strickland. 59% though is rolling with Cannonier, and majority of it is Brown. Do you think that if Cannonier gets this one done, that it's most likely by finish, or do you see a pathway where Jared can also win a decision?
Yeah, I could see definitely Jared winning a decision. He's been looking great lately, and so he definitely could get it done. I think Sean Strickland's only path to victory is decision. If he knocks out Jared Cannonier, that will absolutely blow my mind. But I think the most probable outcome is decision Strickland, knockout Cannonier, maybe decision Cannonier. That's how I kind of see it. I don't know. I like Cannonier, more diverse, the stronger, more explosive fighter, and maybe I could even see him breaking a shin bone or break an arm from Sean blocking, and it gets a TKO by Sean being a little too brittle from those cannon bombs that Jared will be throwing.
Perhaps that's an outcome for sure. Let us know down below who you're rolling with. Meat is taking Cannonier. Your boy's going with Sean Strickland, but let us know if you're seeing something different, and appreciate you guys checking out this vid.